Good morning and good afternoon, all depending on where you're located at today. Happy Friday. I love Fridays. Friday, when I wake up, it's always like ah, it's Friday. I love Fridays. Fridays, I'm always figuring out what I need to do with work and what I need to do for the weekend to have the best time with my family. So that's why I love Fridays so much. So I hope you're celebrating this Friday like a boss. The sun is shining. Temperatures are definitely rising. I mean, I think it's supposed to be like 75 today, which is crazy. So crazy good that is, right? So when all that's happening, all I know is that's the kickstart to purchase season, right? Purchase season is upon us. It is time. Welcome to Creating Opportunities. I'm your host, Bill Haga, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage Local. I always stress local because of our pricing is always a good 1% to 1.25% better than the call center in Detroit, Michigan. All right. So once again, contact me versus getting online first. That's going to save you on a $500,000 purchase. It saves you about 5,000 plus dollars. That's huge, right? I mean, if you can save $1,000, that's huge, let alone over 5,000. Okay. So that's what I'm here for. Use me as much as you can. Okay. Today's agenda. We had a Fed meeting on Wednesday. That was interesting. Mercy. The market and the rates. That's super interesting once you see this. Rocket's collaboration with Redfin and Compass. I feel like that I still need to cover this again. A lot of people out there who are still not even aware of what's taking place. Okay. Um, and spring break. Spring break is upon us. Love it. All right. So, like every Friday, let's jump into it. Let's knock it out and figure out what's happening here. So, the Fed meeting was Wednesday, and there were three pretty much main takeaways from this meeting. Okay. No rate cut was provided, and that made the second opportunity that they had a chance to cut rates, and they chose not to. Okay. The yield on the U.S. 10-year Treasury note, that's the key. Listen to this. Once again, the U.S. 10-year Treasury note is what we follow. Okay. That's what's attached to the rates. It's what we use to, determine if the rates are going to go up or go down. So this is a key market benchmark. Like I was just explaining, it was 4.26% and about 18 basis points, right? 0.18 of a percent higher than 1 year ago. So anytime it's high, what do you think is going to happen? Interest rate's going to go up. Following Wednesday's meeting, the probability of a 0.25% rate cut at the next meeting on April 29th stands at a mere 2% chance. So here we are, about to go into the third opportunity this year for the feds to cut rates for us, and that's looking pretty dim at the moment. At the moment. Mind you, a lot can happen in just a couple days, right? A lot of this war stuff, oil, a lot of concerns. We know what that causes. Uncertainty, right? That's risk. Uncertainty equals risk. All right, let's talk about the market and the interest rates and how it responded to Wednesday's Fed meeting. So, Wednesday's Fed meeting took rates on a ride when they didn't cut them at all. In fact, the cost of rates got worse by a 0.25%. Then they got worse again on Thursday morning by another 1/8 to 0.25%, depending on the program. By the end of the day yesterday, the cost of rates dropped by 0.5%. Okay, so follow this. So right after the Fed meeting, the cost of rates jumped. And then they jumped again, twice. Okay, two increases in that day. And then all of a sudden, Here we come around yesterday, and then we get a 0.5% back. They dropped a 0.5% yesterday. This morning, they got worse again by a 0.25% to 3/8. So as you can see, this market is super volatile right now. I mean, super volatile. Any misused phrase or word can take this market any direction, right? If it's President Trump talking about the war, if he's talking that it's going to continue, you're going to see the cost of rates get worse. You see, he start talking about the end of things and how it's going to be wrapped up, then we should see the cost of rates improve. All right. That's how the market is moving. And as you can see, it's moving a lot. Right. So fingers crossed, the Feds realize come April 29th, their next meeting, that our financial indicators are still showing that inflation is still being controlled, and it's still down there around that 2.7 to 3% range. That's kind of their marker there. So it's been a crazy week. Imagine working up pre-approvals, right? When you've got rates that are fluctuating up to 0.5% cost of the rate, right? So people were tight trying to squeeze into a house. In moments they didn't qualify, and then the next day they did qualify, and then, oh wait, today's Friday, rates went up again. So imagine if you're working with 50, 60 clients that are pre-approved, and you've got change in pricing, and their estimated closing cost are changing that rapidly. It can cause a lot of anxiety, right? Numbers are numbers. They're going to change. Keep in mind, and this is something that I think we all need to stress to our clients. These numbers aren't final until the day we get final numbers. These are all estimates, right? All we can do is estimate until we get there. And times like this, when some people are, number crunchers, right? Like us. And these things keep changing. And especially during the process and as they're trying to buy a house. So you can see how it's going to increase anxieties across the board with our clients. So I think we need to be mindful of that, have some empathy, and be aware of that up front, and maybe coddle them a little bit better, a little more, right? Stay in contact a little more, maybe one more text or a phone call, just to make sure that their anxieties are at a workable point. Because we know the process is like the third most stressful thing that we do in life. Okay? So we got to keep in mind of that. We're the bosses, right? We're the educators. That's our jobs. Make sure that our clients feel, right? It's all about how they feel, their emotions as they're going through this process. And if we can make it as light as possible and keep reinforcing the idea that these are just estimated numbers, they're going to change, right? We're behind the scenes. They pull out, seller credits, run things. They take out the down payment, run things. There's all kinds of different checklists that they have on the backside of these things that no one else is really aware of. And that's all they're really doing is checking everything that they need to check. Mind you, this is one of also the biggest areas of, organized crime, fraud, right? Money laundering. So they're also looking through all that stuff. There's a lot going on in the world. Okay. There's a lot of people that are here that probably shouldn't be here. So hopefully everything that we do have in place, we can catch some of these people. right? That's the whole idea behind having these things in place. Okay, but that is just what's taking place in the market and how volatile it is. Okay, um, let me see what else we got. Rocket's collaboration with Redfin and Compass. I want to go back through this again. I've spoken on it a couple times. I apologize if you're one who is fully aware of what took place. And sorry that you got to hear this again, but it's really that important. And there's so many agents out there that still aren't aware of what's taking place. So once again, I'm just going to kind of recap this and talk about Rocket's collaboration with Redfin and Compass. All right. So if you haven't heard the news yet, Rocket recently collaborated with the real estate giant Compass. Compass has over 200,000 agents under its umbrella. And I mean, that's pretty stinking big, right? So I'm just going to I'm going to go through the names of the companies that this affects and who we collaborated with. Starting with Compass Legacy, Washington Fine Properties, Christie's International, App Properties, Ansley, Realty Austin, Ladder and Bloom, Parks, Porchlight, Cottingham Chalk, Colorado, Home Realty. Okay. Anywhere Own Brokerage, all you Caldwell Bankers, Concorian, Sotheby's International Realty, and Anywhere Franchise. Okay, these are now franchises of the brokerages. Once again, we've got Century 21, we've got Coldwell Banker, we've got ERA Real Estate, Better Homes and Gardens, Concorian affiliates, and Sotheby's International affiliates. So if you work for any of these companies, right, this is the benefit for the collaboration with us at Rocket, right? How do your clients benefit from our collaboration? They gain access to more homes in one place, and sellers have more choices in how their home is marketed. This creates a more connected experience across real estate and mortgage, including preferred pricing, right? Preferred pricing when our clients are working with both of us. That's kind of the key, right? The preferred pricing piece. So if you're a boss and you're working for any of these companies, please contact me to talk about this promotion in a little more detail than what I'm going to go over, right? But you got two options with the promo, right? You can take a 0.75% lender credit up to a max of $6,000. All right, that can be applied to your down payment and or closing cost. So what does all that mean? So on a $500,000 purchase, that's a lender credit of $3,750. Okay, pretty decent. Or the other option our clients have, right? So that's really for the client who perhaps needs more money for closing costs, down payment, money. They need money, they need funds, right? The next option is our client can choose a free 1.0 temporary rate buy down. This is for the client who's rate conscious, right? They're all concerned about a payment. Excuse me. So, for example, if they lock it in at a rate of 5.5%, they're going to receive a payment based off of a 4.5% rate for the first 12 months. So, once again, back to that $500,000 example, that's a monthly savings of $296.35 a month, right? That's almost $300 a month savings. That's huge. You multiply that out by 12, I mean, that's over $3,500 in payment savings for the year. So what this really does is it kind of sets people up for whenever the feds decide that it's time to drop rates. So they really, they go from this temporary buy down, and then hopefully rates will be down. So their payment, once this comes off and it adjusts back up to 5.5% payment, then it'll be time for them to refinance into a lower rate anyway. And they continue with that lower payment. That's what it's all designed to do and help. right? Make that first year transition, right? Keep in mind, there's a lot of first time home buyers that we're working with. And in that first, year, 2 years, you're really trying to get your budgets set, right? And try to figure out your bills and trying to figure out um, what's taking place financially, right? Mortgage payments are mortgage payments, right? These things this is the last thing that you ever want to miss if you get in financial trouble. Same way with a car, right? Those are the two biggest things on your credit reports and going to have the most impact. So if you ever get financially in a pinch, let a credit card go or a couple credit cards go before you let either one of those go 30-day late. Okay. All right. Next thing on my list, it's spring break time. My goodness, I can't believe it. Time is flying by. I can't believe it. We're at the end of March. March Madness. I love this time of the year, and I haven't even watched one basketball game yet. So I'm hoping to do that this weekend and watch it all the way through until the finals. So I'm looking forward to that for this weekend. But what do you think when you think of spring break, especially as a boss, as an adult? Now that we're pretty much in the same situation our parents and grandparents were. So I think of family fun, right? I mean, it's go on vacation with your family, make memories, enjoy one another's company, reconnect at times, whatever's going on in your world. That is the time that everything should be like put aside and fixed, right? So I can think of some really funny memories from my family, but mind you, my family was a little off, so those things probably wouldn't be appropriate. But if you're traveling, if you're going anywhere on vacation with your family, um, please please know that it's a crazy time, right? Be safe, be aware of your surroundings. Um, One of the times that we went on spring break, we went to Mexico, and while we were in Mexico, I was looking for the nearest real estate office to check out the real estate in the area, and that's what I was going to do on some of my little downtime that I get to spend with myself. So I don't know how you spend your spring break, but I love what I do. I love our industry, and I can never seem to get enough of it. So even when I'm traveling, even abroad, I still have my mind in the business. So once again, if you're traveling, just ask you to be safe. Um, Once again, always be aware of your surroundings. There's a lot of things going on once again in our country and outside our country. Um, just make sure you're always aware of what's going on. That's all I've got. Once again, the sun's shining. I don't like to talk a lot when it's busy time. I like to work. I like to make sure that your loans close on time, you get paid on time, and we get referrals, right? So that's all I've got for today. I hope you all have a great and awesome weekend. You know me, my laptop's always on, my phone's always on. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to talk to some of you agents from Redfin, from Compass, and discuss this, how we're going to, promote this program. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for those who need a down payment assistance with that up to 0.75 credit. And those who are looking for a lower payment, you can see, almost $300 a month. That's a huge savings, right? On a monthly basis for somebody for the first year as they're trying to figure out, new expenses. Houses aren't cheap, right? Things fall apart. You got to replace them. You got to fix them. So look forward to all those conversations. That's all I've got. Let's get your clients verified, approved, and under contract. Good luck, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. Take care.